Where were you 15 years ago? It would have been April of 2011. The Nintendo 3DS was still the newest console on the market. Classic movies like Rio and Scream 4 were out in theaters, and this year also included the most anticipated return in gaming history. Hey guys, FNAF22 here with our video, and in today's video, if you couldn't tell by that little intro segment, we are talking about Mortal Kombat 9 and its 15-year anniversary. Today is the day that Mortal Kombat 2011 was released to the public, making it 15 years old, and today I just wanted to do a retrospective on it as it is my favorite Mortal Kombat game of all time. So we're going to go over many different plot points in this video. We're going to go over the roster, the gameplay, and of course the main story of the game. So why don't we jump straight into this retrospective with the
characters.
In my opinion, this game has one of the most stacked rosters of all time. You have all of the classic characters from the first trilogy, from the first three games. You've got all the mainstays, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Katana, Raiden, all that good stuff, as well as the fun, side characters as well with Jade, Nightwolf, Cyrax, Sector, Smoke, all these amazing characters, and these are some of the best designs for all these characters. These are some of the most remembered designs in Mortal Kombat history, except for maybe all the scandalous female outfits, but for the main part, these are all the designs that people remember with these characters. Now, there were not a lot of new characters brought into Mortal Kombat 9, but it makes sense because this is a reboot, so why would they add a bunch of new characters if they're completely rebooting their timeline? The only new technical characters are Cyber Sub-Zero, which is the robot Cyber Initiative version of Sub-Zero, and one of our DLC characters in Scarlet, which is the Blood Witch. Those are pretty much the only brand new characters in this game, but they're also just different variants of characters as well as characters who have been shown off before, so they're not really new characters. But speaking of Scarlet in this game, this is the very first Mortal Kombat game to show post-launch DLC. So we got brand new DLC characters in this game. We had never gotten DLC characters in a Mortal Kombat game, and that's what makes this game so special. It's the very first game to introduce DLC characters. Now, for the DLC characters, we would get Rain from the original Mortal Kombat games, we would get Kenshi from the original 3D era, we would get Scarlet, as I already mentioned earlier, and then we would get two guest characters. On every platform, you would get Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street, one of the most classic horror characters of all time, one of the best slashers of all time. They did kind of butcher it using the remake version instead of the original version that we all love. But if you also own this game on PlayStation, you would get Kratos as a PlayStation version exclusive. That was really, really cool that they added Kratos. He's one of the most loved characters in this game, one of the most OP fighting characters in Mortal Kombat history, and he had a really, really cool map. Now, there was supposed to be an Xbox exclusive with Marcus Phoenix from the Gears of War series. Unfortunately, it never worked, but still, this game was amazing. Adding DLC just added way more exclusiveness and way more coolness to this roster, and in my opinion, this is still one of the top 3 best Mortal Kombat rosters of all time. Now, playable characters are one of the biggest points of buying a fighting game. Which characters you're going to see? Are there going to be new ones, loved ones, DLC guest characters? All of that does matter when it comes down to a fighting game, but the biggest point to play a fighting game, the biggest pull, is how the game plays. Let's jump in to the
Round 1. Fight!
Now, in my opinion, and a lot of the Mortal Kombat fans' opinions, Mortal Kombat 9 brought the original gameplay back to this franchise. Before Mortal Kombat 9, we had Mortal Kombat vs. DC, where we still had the 3D type fighting. Mortal Kombat 9 brought us back to 2D fighting, which is the original classic feel for Mortal Kombat, and going forward, we would keep 2D fighting forever. I mean, we haven't seen it changed recently for years to come. Jungle Combat was also brought into Mortal Kombat 9, where you could juggle your opponent, and this has kind of always been kept in the game as well, updated more and more, like with the newer games where you can now juggle fight them in the air, which is really, really cool. But a really big part of the gameplay is, of course, the special moves. Now, all the characters have their own, little special moves. We also got intro dialogues with these characters. I mean, they wouldn't talk with each other. That wouldn't really be upgraded until like Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 11, but we did get our first look at how intros would work in Mortal Kombat, where they would spawn, say one line, and then, the match would start, which was really, really cool. But with the special moves in this game, we got our first look at X-rays, or super moves, whatever you would like to call them. Now, I know a lot of people do not like super moves in Mortal Kombat, but in this game, they were perfected. They were very short, simple little moves. You would hit both back triggers, you would hit the character, break a few of their bones, and then you would move on with your life. They weren't super long cinematic moves used on one another. They were just short little simple moves. Some were really, really good, and some lacked compared to others, but either way, this was the first time we got to see super moves in a Mortal Kombat game, and I loved it personally. I know a lot of people are always like indifferent on the super moves in these games just because sometimes they're cool, sometimes they're lame, sometimes they're super long. I know there's a lot of caveats to these moves, but I thought the first edition of X-rays in Mortal Kombat was a really, really cool touch, and I like how you only got them if you got your meter all the way full, which means you couldn't just use them to save yourself like in the newer games. You really had to waste all of your bar to use your X-ray. And of course, the best part, the best touch of a Mortal Kombat game, this was one of the goriest Mortal Kombat games to date. The gore was amped up to 100, and with that, the fatalities looked amazing. Now, obviously, here on YouTube, I can't show you a bunch of the gore and a bunch of the fatalities because this video would get destroyed by demonetization, but I will just tell you now, if you have not seen the fatalities in Mortal Kombat 9, they are amazing. Like Noob Saibot's leg rip fatality, insane. One of the best Mortal Kombat fatalities of all time, and it comes from this game. It also inspired his animality in Mortal Kombat 1, which was really, really cool to see. And I really just like the gore in this game. When you're just playing fighting, you're not doing fatalities, X-rays, none of that stuff. You're just hand-to-hand combating your foe. They actually start to get ripped up, bloody. Their clothes start to get ripped up. You can kind of see parts of like their skeleton and stuff. It's just a really, really cool detail, and the gameplay in this game was amazing. I love how simple it is. It's nothing too crazy, and of course this would be added on to with every single entry, adding new features and stuff. But to me, Mortal Kombat 9's gameplay, just that classic feel to Mortal Kombat, was amazing. So of course, now we've got a peak stacked roster. We have amazing gameplay to play with your friends. There's still one huge aspect of fighting games, one that a lot of solo players love to play, and of course that is the
Story.
Now, before we even start talking about the story of Mortal Kombat 9, I do just want to say it has been a long time since I've seen this story. It has been a very long time since I've played this story. I still love coming back to this game every now and then, but of course I haven't played it in a while. I probably should have honestly played it before I made this retrospective, but this is my favorite Mortal Kombat game of all time, so I kind of know like the inside depths of the story. I might be missing a few key parts, but you can always leave them in the comments down below to remind me and all the other fans watching this video. But the Mortal Kombat 9 story is a reboot. This is the very, very first time we would get a reboot in this franchise, and of course not the last, but this is the reboot done correctly. It actually takes place at the end of Armageddon, which is where the main Mortal Kombat story ended. We see Raiden and Shao Kahn battling on top of the, tower, I guess you can call it, or the pyramid, and they're fighting to, see who's going to pretty much take over the world. I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Raiden versus Shao Kahn, but we then see our current day Raiden seeing these events in the future, and the whole game is about Raiden trying to pretty much stop the others from recreating the events from the original trilogy and the original series of Mortal Kombat. I feel like this is such a cool story because obviously you get to reboot and say these events didn't happen, but you still get to say like these events are canon events and they will happen if we don't do this, this, and this. I just think it's a really fun way to play the story, and I feel like a lot of the characters in this story make sense. Their characters make sense. The fights they're in make sense. Some of the fights obviously don't. I think there's like fights where Sonya defeats like Quan Chi and Shang Tsung by herself, which would never really happen in the canon of Mortal Kombat, but because we go off chapter style like gameplay here in the story. Of course, things like that are going to happen. There are a lot of huge events in this story. I think obviously Liu Kang getting killed by Raiden by the end, and Raiden having to fight Shao Kahn himself is a crazy event. I can't believe that happened, and obviously Liu Kang would come back later on to still be the hero, but this would continue on into Mortal Kombat X. As well as the event with Sindel, like the massacre of half of the roster, where Sindel goes absolute bananas and destroys most of the Mortal Kombat characters in a crazy like kill scene. That is one of the craziest and most remembered scenes from this story mode. Now, obviously, it sounds like I'm just glazing this game over and over, saying how amazing the characters are, the story, the gameplay, all that stuff. But of course, there are some issues with this, and some of the issues do come in the story, like Noob Saibot. They build Noob Saibot up to be this scary, amazing, like evil character. And granted, they do this in every Mortal Kombat game, but they build him up so much, and he loses literally every fight. I don't think he wins a single fight in this story mode. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he wins a single fight in this story mode. They just let bro get massacred. Like, why would they do that to him? Noob Saibot is such a cool character. So yeah, guys, this is a really cool story mode. I love all the aspects of this story mode. I love that we get to see the original story from the first few games, and we get to see kind of how to prevent that story. We also do get like boss characters like Shao Kahn, Goro, Kintaro, Shiva. Really cool. Now, let me mention here, Shao Kahn. This game gives Shao Kahn so much aura. In my opinion, Mortal Kombat 9 Shao Kahn is one of the best versions of Shao Kahn in the entire franchise. It may even be the best version. He just has so much aura. He's so hard to fight against. In my opinion, he is one of the hardest Mortal Kombat bosses. Like, I honestly thought Shao Kahn was a lot harder than Kronika. I could totally be wrong, but in my opinion, Shao Kahn was way harder for me to fight. He's always laughing at you, just dominating you. He has so much aura in all like the cutscenes where you get to just see his mask or see him sitting in his throne. This is one of the best versions of Shao Kahn and the best version of a Mortal Kombat villain of all time. I just love this version. I love the story mode in this game. It is so fun. If you have not played it, you should definitely go back and play it. At the end of the day, Mortal Kombat 9 doesn't have to be your favorite video game. Hell, it doesn't even have to be your favorite Mortal Kombat game, but it is mine. This game brings back so much of my childhood and so much nostalgia, and no matter what, this game will always have a special place in my heart.